Welcome back to CNN Talk. What are Trump's vulnerabilities going up to the 2020 election? We're asking you on Facebook. Rick says his awful tweets. Bobby says Robert Mueller. Devashri says climate change. And Festus says his tax records. What's he going to campaign on? Then the economy is certainly going to be part of that because it's doing well. Bonnie says it's about to go badly. Also the wall, and he spoke about that at a rally yesterday.
Walls work. Actually, there's nothing like them for what we're talking about. We want to stop drugs. We want to stop traffickers. We want to stop criminals from coming in. Walls save lives. Walls save tremendous numbers of lives.
He also had a few things to say about the media. That led to some aggression against the media. This is a tweet from the BBC producer who was in the crowd. Just attended my first Donald Trump rally. My colleague, BBC cameraman Rob Skeens, was attacked by a Trump supporter. The crowd had been whipped up into a frenzy against the media by Trump and other speakers. Let's just show you the video that they put to that.
Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans have reached the lowest level in the history of our country. Hispanic Americans.
Not so shocking to a lot of the American media, perhaps, but for the British media, going to that type of event for the first time, it was a real shock.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. I mean, the actions of that individual are very much on him, and as Bonnie just said, I mean, that's a potential lawsuit right there. Absolutely horrific. But there is no question that Donald Trump creates an atmosphere where people think it's okay to behave in a certain way that I don't think was okay 3 or 4 years ago. And to contrast it, do you remember when Obama, during the 2016 election, there was that Trump protester who came in and the crowd started to heckle him. And Obama stopped them. Yeah. He said, don't boo, vote. He also said that man looks like a veteran. We respect veterans. He looks like an elder. We respect elders. He encouraged his crowd to step back from violence and aggression and to use their democratic right to show their concerns. And now, look, I don't praise Obama very often, but it is night and day sometimes comparing the previous president to the current one in their demeanor.
Kate, they all were like this before. This is unprecedented. No president of the United States, even Nixon, who heaven knows hated the press and threatened them, he never demagogued. He never demagogued. And this is what this guy is doing. And he doesn't get, because he's so protected, he grew up protected, that there are people outside of his golden bubble who are in trouble. And he doesn't understand that, and he doesn't care. And I think that's what people are very tired of. And if there is anybody, and I agree with both of you, if anybody runs to the right of what the base of the Democratic Party is now, and if people understand, and some of them accept, that the candidate they want is the one who can beat him. And if they can figure that out, if they can get Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, and get where Amy Klobuchar won Minnesota, hold down the South, he's done, and it's possible.
What about the Republican candidates that could capitalize on his weaknesses?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, the problem with doing that is then not only is that you can't win in a primary, at least it's never been done. I mean, a lot of these rules that I always look to, or historical measures, got flipped upside down in 2016. So, I mean, I was wrong from the get-go on the whole primary process. But historically, no candidate within the party has been able to defeat an incumbent president in the primaries. And on top of that, whenever they do run and lose, that president ends up losing in the general. So whoever does it has probably got to know, usually they're going to be well aware of the historical precedent and say, I'm willing to do this for 2024.
Take a bullet.
I'm doing it for the party or for the conservative movement. Yeah. So look, that's very well.
But what's the atmosphere like in the party? Could something different happen?
I think everybody's got this, a little bit of sit and wait, on partly on the Mueller investigation. But look, I think whoever runs will have to be keeping 2024 in mind. Remember, Ronald Reagan ran against an incumbent Gerald Ford in 1976, went right up to the convention. And that really helped him in 1980. But, Jimmy Carter in 1980 had to run against Ted Kennedy in his own party. So same with Bush H.W. in 92. So look, there's a historical precedent. whoever runs will probably do it knowing that they will lose and that the president very well might lose because of them.
Which means the party loses, which is a huge burden to take on your shoulders.
Yeah.
You have to be playing a very long game.
What names are we looking at here, potentially?
Well, I can't name anybody who could potentially run against him that I think would win in 2024. Trump has very much taken over the Republican Party, and I think the feeling is that it would be sabotage to potentially bring in then a very left-wing progressive. That is a scenario where a left-wing progressive could really give Trump a run for his money. In terms of looking to 2024, though, there are some popular figures in the Republican Party that are in many ways the antithesis to Trump. I'm particularly thinking of Nikki Haley, former representative at the UN, very popular governor in South Carolina. What's interesting to me is that the runner-up names in the Republican Party do not have Trump-like demeanor. They don't have his policies. They're very, very different.
But you know, the tragedy of the Republican Party, of course, was their map was going to be a Nikki Haley type person. That, after Obama, was the way they were going to remake that party. And they have a large Latino contingent who are very interested in the Republicans. But they messed up when this guy came over. And I think even if he wins, the Republican Party is going to have to tack in the other direction because the country's changing, the demographic is changing, and the Republican Party may have to go back to the plan they had before he came on, which was to look at a Nikki Haley, was to look at a Marco Rubio before he came on as the future of the party.
I think hopefully it won't be, if it does happen, it won't be a never-Trumper or a Trump hater like Jeff Flake. First of all, he couldn't win his own primary in Arizona, so he's never going to be able to get a movement behind him. And you know, Mitt Romney's been very critical of the president. I don't think that would work. He ran in 08 and ran in 12. I wish he was president. I mean, he was this close in 2012, and a lot of conservatives look back and say, wow, that doesn't look so bad, you know? And granted, if someone, notably Hillary, had ran against Barack Obama in 2012, he definitely would have lost. I mean, he was very vulnerable for many reasons.
It took you a long time to mention Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So where's she? Is she going to come back?
Runs again.
No. Hillary's not going to do that. But I think what we need to...
She's
not doing it. I'll put money on that. But I think we need to take some...
Why doesn't she rule herself out?
Because she doesn't have to. Everybody knows.
And she's Hillary.
I mean, she's not going to do it.
Yeah.
We have to take the smoke away from her. Democrats realize she won the popular vote. She lost 3 states by 84,000 votes, which gave Trump the Electoral College. They get those states back, he's gone.
And those states also voted Democrat in 2014.
Exactly, and 12.
2012, you know.
But she lost them.
Right, so they flip, you know, so they voted very much Republican in 2010 in the midterms, back to the Democrats in 12, back to Republicans in 14, you know, so they're very winnable. But
they're looking at those states, and the candidate for that, the state that belongs to Trump, that used to be a Democrat, is Florida. Florida is his to lose. So I think they're going to move away from Florida and go back into the Midwest, hold the South, which they've got, because their base is 95% African-American women. They hold that base and see if they can get into the Midwest, and they got it.
Hillary Clinton couldn't get the turnout. She could get the turnout in the targeted areas, which Donald Trump could. How can the Democrats organize better on that side of things this time?
They could listen to their operatives on the ground. I mean, Clinton handed away her victory.
Because she got the most votes, just to explain.
She won the popular vote, but operatives on the ground in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin were saying things aren't looking good.
Please come.
I know you've assumed that things are looking good, but A, please come here, and B, please stop talking about basically throwing out the window all these jobs that these small towns depend on. And she didn't listen. I mean, there was rumors that even the Barack Obama group were saying to her, we really need to reach out to some of these states.
Bill said it to her. Bill told her to go there.
She didn't listen.
But she made a wrong choice. That's a very tragic thing, but that's what people do. And he won by 84,000 votes. I do think it's important
to say, though, while I do think, in retrospect, Hillary Clinton could have won this. I mean, if she had made better tactical decisions. It is also the case that Trump did do something spectacular. We can't just say that it was hers to lose and she handed it away. Huge upset.
We've been asking you what Trump's vulnerabilities are for 2020, and Jamie says Republican voters who left the party because of Trump, and that's lost votes. Manuel says people have jobs and they feel secure, so why change? And a lot of people will be looking at the economy and saying things have been pretty good under Trump's presidency. Have your say on our Facebook feed. Also listen again by going to Apple Podcasts and looking up CNN Talk.